keep it balanced, and you gotta oil your chain.
And then
just like the ocean.
And don't forget about the moon factoring in.
And your horn, don't forget about horns.
So bad at these. Like, mentally, it requires so much effort for me to try to make these work. And I'm just like, I know that the moons cause tides. I'm gonna throw that in.
Don't forget the moon thing.
Welcome to Good Mythical Morning. Oh, really? You thought about it? The thought went through your head to pull your pants down and show your hiney to the mythical beast.
But then Morgan would have to edit it out.
He'd have to blur it.
Blur my butt. He's not done that before.
Morgan can make it look like you did it, and you don't even have to pull your pants down.
In fact,
right?
we don't even show up anymore. We're not even here.
Like, literally, I could do this.
This is a program.
I could do this. I probably need to do that. And look at that. Morgan didn't just do anything because he's got better things to do.
I'm at home drinking a smoothie right now.
If he wanted to, that you would have thought that was a bare butt under a blur. But
don't give away our secrets, man.
But Morgan, I'm not asking you to do that.
Yeah,
I'm asking you not to do that.
Don't.
It's not worth it.
Specifically, don't do it.
He's a whiz.
Why you gotta apologize to me?
Like I said, I'll answer it in this way, with a story.
I'll answer with a story.
Where do I start with this one? Okay, like I said, I haven't been to Action Park, but as we've shared many times, Rhett and Link, Rhett and I.
I'm Rhett, he's Link. Welcome to the show.
I just spoke to myself in third person. I spoke of myself.
Yeah, you can't speak to yourself in third person. That would be weird.
Let me just sit here another second. The words that come out of my face sometimes have nothing to do with anything that's happening in my brain.
Yeah, you're just now realizing that?
I know it. As we've established, we like to go 4x4ing, off-roading, with each other, time separate. That wasn't English either. So we have an FJ Cruiser that we share, and this past weekend, I took my boys out, and Nick took his Montero, and you had a diving thing with Locke. So Rhett wasn't there.
I wasn't diving, though.
He was watching his son dive off of, 10 meters.
No.
That's what Lincoln told me.
Well, I'm glad Lincoln thinks that.
He's never dove off 10 meters?
Dove. It's not a word, but
Did you know what I meant?
5 meters, yeah.
In practice, he's gone off at 10 meters.
Yeah, but he doesn't compete at the 10 meters because you could really hurt yourself.
One of the many things
Action Park
that Lincoln told me while we were off-roading without you. And Lando was in the back seat. And we go out there, we're north of Big Bear, and we're taking what the book says is a simple trail, and then it's like, well, we can just take the simple trail, or we can take, which is green, or we can take this red trail, which goes to the left, and then it comes...
Doesn't mean Christmas.
And then it goes to a blue trail to come right back, and it'll be like just doing a loop.
Right, yeah,
and
that red spot's not a problem. From
experience, and you'll vouch for this, a lot of times you'll see a red trail, and it's people like to build things up so that people like us don't try it, but
Not in that book.
We have tried things.
No, I mean... That book,
yeah.
We've discussed this. If you go to the National Park website, it says most difficult, doesn't mean anything. But our book, if it's read in our book, that's a big deal. You forgot this.
You're right. You're right. But we decided to do it because I forgot that.
Okay. And they usually overestimate it.
So we're about to go down.
I wasn't there to say, but it's red.
You stop and you air down your tires in order to go over rocks and things like that. And there's a lot of... they'll build things up. I mean, the sign there said most difficult, but that's the thing that they just try to keep people out.
We've
don't
done
know what they're
before,
doing.
Right.
So as I'm airing down, this dude in this souped up Jeep comes through there and he brr, 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 stops. He's like, hey, and he's friendly and his wife's with him and his dog, and he's like, you going down Holcomb?
In that?
He said, you going down Holcomb? And I was like, yeah. He's like, have you ever done it? And I said, no, sir. Older guy. And he said, and his wife said, well, you might be able to make it in that, but he's not going to make it in the Montero. So he threw Nick under the bus there that the Montero wouldn't make it.
Oh, and that just makes Nick want to do it.
Well, I don't think Nick overheard all that.
Oh, and, you didn't tell Nick.
So it was totally up to me. And then he was just like, there's some boulders here and there's a creek and then I didn't pay attention to anything else they said because I was already. And then he said, I don't typically go without somebody. I don't go alone. I said, well,
I got a guy in Montero.
He said, well, we're going.
You said can't make it. It'll be fine.
He said, we're just going to get some lunch and go down here a little ways. So we'll see you. And he kind of had a glimmer in his eye. Like, we'll see you later. So then I air down the tires. We get going 10 minutes later. We go down there. And before literally 300 yards into the trail, there's the guy with the Jeep. And I was like, hey, his name was Mike. Mike, you already ate lunch? He's like, yep, I already ate lunch. You'll see the gatekeeper in a few minutes, and I'll be up behind you. So we go up and we turn, and there's a creek. He's
like, dag nabbit, they're coming.
There's a creek. Montero
and all.
There's a creek. It dips down into a creek, and then it immediately just starts going up a mountain with like some. There's like a boulder in the creek on the left side, and then beyond it, there's like two big rocks that I would say are like this big and maybe 2.5 feet off the ground. And as we know, the rocks are your friends. You drive on the rocks, you don't try to straddle rocks, and you certainly can't go around them because there's not enough room. Mm-hmm. And we start down there, and I get out of the truck, and we're like looking, and we had already passed the guy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's easy.
So in my mind, when he walks up and he's like, so you gonna do it? I had already answered him when I passed him. Yes, I'm gonna try it because I've already passed you. So it wasn't like, even though he asked me, are you sure you're gonna do this, that it was a legitimate question. At this point, it was more of, just for the record, I wanna let you know that I'm asking you again. But my pride wouldn't allow me to say.
He asked you again?
He asked me again.
Oh.
Are you sure you're gonna do this? And I was like, I was thinking, I've already said yes by passing you and being here.
But at this point, were you like,
so I didn't
beginning to doubt yourself?
Yeah, I was, but he was there and he was like, okay, I'll help you. He said he'll help me. He couldn't pass me anyway. There was no way around. So then I start going and I go through the creek, get all the tires wet.
You gotta do that.
Which turns out makes this extremely difficult to then climb rocks. So I go around the big rock on the left and then start going this way, and Nick is directing me, and the guy is directing me. And he's like not taking, you know how the three of us, we always take time, like get your wheel this way and turn a little bit, now ease it a little bit, and we're like really analytical about it. Mm-hmm. He walks up and he's like, come forward, go to the left, up, keep coming, gas it, punch it, let it go, stop. You know, it's like that quick. And there was no strategy. I didn't really get out and look at what I was going for. So he's trying to take me up on these two rocks that are just my wheelbase apart from each other. But as I start going up this thing, it's like, kids are in the back seat, by the way.
In a creek.
Pale. They're just scared.
Yeah. So I would be scared.
I go up on it.
Of course, I wouldn't have gone on it because it's red.
As I go up on the two boulders, all of a sudden it goes.
Oh, that means you're on one of the boulders now.
So I slid over, and my windows rolled down, and I'm as far from me to you, the camera, to Mike. And so I go, and Mike goes, you're in that spot.
You're in that spot, the one we always talk about.
The spot you're never supposed to be in. You're high-centered. He's like, so then for the next hour and a half, here, I'll show you the picture. I'll show you the spot. Let me pull up my photos here.
I don't know if this would have happened if I went.
And you know how you're sweating out of every pore, and you could smell yourself starting to stink, and I look back at the kids, and they're like, Dad, I want to get out. I'm like, you can't get out. You're safer in here than you are out there. And then 5 minutes later, I let them out because they can't handle it, and they're like standing up there in the shade eating trail mix and laughing at me.
An hour and a half. How did he get you out? You didn't even have. Yeah, you didn't take my high lift jacket or anything.
Yeah, because you didn't put it on there. That'll never happen again because we needed that. So of course the pictures never do it justice. This is shooting down the mountain, which your eyes kind of level it as being level ground, but this is shooting down a mountain as if I was pointing up. And you see the two rocks that I'm supposed to have a tire on both rocks, but I don't.
There's a campfire. You went camping, huh?
I got slow-mo footage of a campfire too. So Go back to this rock. So to answer your question, the reason why it took an hour and a half is because I was sitting there doing a 223 point turn going backwards and forwards. The where you see that's Mike back there standing on a rock, and one time he's like, punch it, and another time he's like, reverse punch it. And I punch it, and as I punch it, I backed up onto this huge rock behind the left passenger back wheel. And he's standing right there. So he's like, reverse punch it. And I'm like, and then he's like, whoa! And I hit something. And I thought it was Mike. Like the moment the part of the truck that hit the truck. If
you had to hit Mike, you would still be there. You realize that. And, because Mike's your only hope at getting out.
Then he comes to the window and he hands me this.
Oh.
And I was like.
It looks like it's part of the car.
Yeah, that's, it's just a mud flap. But he said, he said.
Not imported, I guess.
He said, you can take that with you. It just came off of your truck.
You're in that spot.
And the bumper is kind of crunchy back there, is what he said. Bumper's kind of crunched up.
The bumper
like, why do you call it a bumper?
The bumper, let me just go ahead and give it a little background. The bumper was already hanging on by 2 pieces because of something else that Link had done.
You weren't there for that one.
It may not come as a surprise to you that we've driven this vehicle equidistant, meaning the same distance. I have not done any damage to the vehicle. Now I see that Link has lost a mud flap. He's crunched a bumper he had already nearly knocked off of the car. Also, the rock. How's the rock rail doing? The one that you folded up under the car.
It's really smushed up there.
Good.
Good. So this is what they call John Bull Trail. This is a red. The next morning we did not. It's just shooting down the mountain. You can see at the bottom there, the truck. And then at the top is us. I did not drive the truck up that one, but they legitimately call this one the gatekeeper. And Mike explained, he said, they put these gatekeepers at the beginning of every trail to keep people like you out.
Yeah.
But and then I was like.
Was he like kind of upset?
No, he knew from the moment he pulled up beside me, the moment he saw me airing down and said, "You're going down Holcomb?" He knew at that moment
that he was going to have to rescue.
This was going to be a show. And it turned out that he and his wife live there, and they're one of the campground
So Nick
managers.
Never even tried that.
Nick. Oh, I left out the best part. Well, not the best part, but Nick had to tow me out at one point because I was so jammed up against the rock. We had to connect our 2 trucks, and he had to pull me sideways so then I could back up and get out of there. So he had to tow me out, which is pretty cool. We learned a lot. You should have been there.
I'm glad you learned a lot. When are you taking it to get fixed?
It's just aesthetic, man. It's aesthetic. Is that the right word?
Yeah, but it was pretty cool before you got hold of it.
You want to see cool? Here's the slow motion campfire I took. I'll just play that for you in the room here. Now it's going to slow down. Bam.
Look at that. I can watch that all day.
Look at that.
Make that my screensaver.
Look at that.